Facebook friends aren't your real friends.
A few weeks ago, I received a friend request on Facebook. I didn't know the girl personally, but I knew that she was a friend of a friend, so I accepted. Only last week I entered a clothes store, and after looking around for a little while, I heard the typical, "Are you okay just looking?" I turned around and answered that yes I was, only to realise that the shop assistant was this same girl that had added me on Facebook. I smiled again just to generally acknowledge that I knew who she was, and from that, all I got was the cold shoulder as she walked away. Okay, so maybe she didn't recognise me, fair enough, but how does that explain when on Facebook she is one of my friends? Now I'd just like to ask you to raise your hand if you have more than 100 friends on Facebook. What about more than 200? More than 300? And what about more than 400? Okay, so there's a few of you, and that is a lot of friends, so you can drop your hands down now, thank you. So I'll use that as an example and say you have 400 friends on Facebook. 50 of those are family or family friends. 100 of those are people that you knew in primary school and you just want to see what they're up to with their life. 5 of those are your closest friends. 20 of them are other good friends within your friend group. And another 75 of them are just general friends that you've accumulated through social and sporting activities. Let me now put a question upon you to think about. Who are the remaining 150 friends on your Facebook account? Are they random students that you wouldn't even smile at as you walk by them in the corridor? Are they people that post funny statuses and photos, but you don't really know how you know them? Or are they people that you've just heard about and generally just want to suss them out for yourself? Well, the truth is, we all have these friends on Facebook, and as much as we don't want to admit it, they are not our friends. Facebook friends are not real friends because the quality of the relationship is so superficial. You can't respond to their emotional cues, and those little emoticons can only express those to a certain extent. Did you know that these non-verbal cues, such as body language and eye contact, are responsible for up to 70% of our understanding of human messages? So this means that as soon as we dive into a Facebook chat conversation, we lose 70% of our understanding of the message, and in turn, traits like empathy are completely diminished. Being a friend, what used to be an honour and a privilege, is now something that can be accomplished within 2 clicks of a button. Real friends are there for you for all of your troubles, whereas Facebook friends need a green dot next to their name to even be available to talk to you, and even then, you wouldn't choose to confide in the majority of them. Real friends make the effort to catch up and spend time with you, whereas Facebook friends might go ahead and like your status and think that that's a good enough effort to put in. And real friends don't judge you, whereas on Facebook, everything you post, everything you say is being judged. They can choose to like your post or ignore it. And believe it or not, many users rely heavily on the amount of likes they have to form their own judgment of themselves. Now I must apologise, when I previously asked you all to raise your hands in terms of how many friends you had on Facebook, I just assumed that you all had Facebook. So is there anyone that doesn't have Facebook at all? So there's a few of you. Alright, Pat, can I ask why don't you have Facebook?
I think it's a waste of time.
Cool. Thank you, Pat. See, Pat's a good example of someone who doesn't count a 10-minute Facebook chat as an effort to being a good friend, and he's someone who isn't being sucked into the false assumption that our Facebook friends are our real friends. In many cases, people haven't even met face-to-face with all of their Facebook friends. How can people trust these users with their personal information when they don't even know them? They can't. Millions of people worldwide every day are posting statuses and checking themselves into their location. Not only is this an easy tool to track people, but also to lead on to far more dangerous issues. Ashley Hall was one to experience this firsthand. Like most of us here, she was a 17-year-old student with her whole life ahead of her. She'd grown up being taught not to speak to strangers. Little did she know that this applied to when she was online too. A 33-year-old man, posing as a teenage boy, added Ashley on Facebook. After chatting one night, he lured her to meet up with him. So Ashley told her mum that she was staying at a friend's place and that she'd be home in the morning. Ashley never returned, and a man by the name of Peter Chapman was charged with the rape and murder of Ashley Hall. So when the people you haven't met, they cannot be classified as your friends. Some may say that Facebook is a great way to meet people and become friends with them, but this is most obviously wrong. When you meet someone, you're not miles apart, you're not behind a computer screen, and you're not looking at a photo of them. When you meet someone, you're simply with them at the same place and at the same time. Some people may also say that Facebook enhances and builds friendships, but no, this is the wrong choice of words. What it really does is allows users to categorise their real friends and form judgments upon them based on what they see online. So ultimately, Facebook friends are not your real friends. They're merely just people who willingly share their life with you.